She was called the most beautiful woman in the world, a Hollywood icon, a screen goddess. But while the world admired her face, no one suspected that behind the glamour, Hedy Lamarr was building something that would outlast every movie she ever made. Something that would one day power your phone, your GPS, even Wi-Fi itself. This is the secret legacy of Hedy Lamarr. Before she was Hedy Lamarr, she was Hedwig Eva Maria Kiesler, born in Vienna in 1914 to a cultured, upper-middle-class family. From a young age, she stood out, not just for her beauty, but for her mind. By her teens, she was already dabbling in engineering, taking apart mechanical toys just to see how they worked. But Austria in the 1930s had little interest in women with blueprints. What it did have an appetite for was cinema. At just 19, she scandalized Europe with a risque role in Ecstasy, then fled an oppressive marriage to a munitions dealer and landed in Hollywood, reinvented as Hedy Lamarr, the exotic starlet with a hypnotic gaze. Hollywood loved her for her looks, but Hedy's real passion was invention. Between scenes on movie sets, she sketched designs at her drafting table. She kept a lab in her trailer. Her dinner parties included physicists and inventors. Then came World War II. As the world descended into chaos, Hedy, herself a Jewish refugee from Nazi Europe, wanted to help. She had money, she had fame, but she wanted more than war bonds and posters. She wanted to fight with ideas. In 1940, Lamarr met George Antheil, an avant-garde composer known for synchronizing multiple player pianos in his performances. She told him about a problem plaguing Allied forces. Enemy submarines were jamming radio-controlled torpedoes, rendering them useless. What if, she proposed, the control signals could hop between radio frequencies in a way the enemy couldn't predict, like musical notes shifting on a piano roll? Antheil, ever the musician, saw the genius in the metaphor. Together, they devised a plan, a frequency-hopping spread spectrum, where both transmitter and receiver would rapidly switch frequencies in perfect synchronization, making it nearly impossible to jam or intercept the signal. It was cutting edge, it was revolutionary, and it worked. On August 11, 1942, Lamarr and Antheil were awarded U.S. patent number 2,292,387 for their secret communication system. They gave it for free to the U.S. Navy, and the Navy said no. They dismissed the idea as impractical, citing the complexity of the mechanism. Perhaps they couldn't believe that a Hollywood actress and a piano player had just cracked one of the thorniest problems in military communication. Instead, the Navy asked Hedy to go on tour, not to explain her invention, but to sell war bonds with her smile. She raised over $7 million in a single night, but the blueprint sat in a drawer, gathering dust. Years passed. The war ended. Lamarr's star faded. The world moved on. But her invention did not. In the 1950s and 60s, the concept of frequency hopping began reappearing, quietly, inside military systems. Later, as digital communication exploded, the core principles of Lamarr's patent were used in Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, and countless secure communication systems. She had imagined the future before the world was ready, and it had borrowed her vision without giving her credit. It wasn't until the 1990s, decades after her patent had expired, that Hedy Lamarr's scientific legacy began to resurface. In 1997, she and George Antheil were awarded the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Pioneer Award, recognizing their vital contribution to modern communication. In 2014, she was posthumously inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And her story finally reached audiences in Bombshell, The Hedy Lamarr Story, a documentary that revealed the woman behind the myth. She was more than a pretty face. She was a rebel with a blueprint, a mind ahead of its time. Today, every time a signal hops between towers, every time your GPS finds your location, every time your phone connects wirelessly to the world, there's a piece of Hedy Lamarr in that signal. She didn't just break the mold of what a woman could be. She broke the limits of what an actress could do, what a refugee could build, and what a forgotten mind could contribute to the future. In the end, Hedy Lamarr wasn't just a star on the screen. She was a signal, a beacon, broadcast across time.